Noah, we missed you at our Super Bowl party this Sunday.
Evan, I truly am sorry. I was sick.
I'm just kidding, Noah. We didn't miss your hot takes at all during the Super Bowl. This is AU Nation. And welcome into AU Nation. Each week we bring together members of the Auburn Student Media Group and discuss the latest topics in sports. I'm Evan Blank. On today's show, we'll recap Super Bowl 51, talk some Auburn hoops, discuss the NFL Hall of Fame's newest class, and finally, play a little AU Nation trivia. Now, let's introduce today's panel of experts. Our first guest today is Noah Gardner, who joins us every week. Noah, how have you been, my man?
Doing good. Kind of getting over a sickness, but I'm right back in the biz.
Another expert we have with us today is Keith Gambill. He's an Eagle Eye TV sports analyst. Keith, how are you doing today?
Doing well today. Excited to be on. Thank y'all for having me. Looking forward to it.
All right. We always love having you on, Keith. And finally, we welcome in Ryan Lavoie. Ryan is a host of a basketball talk show, The Fast Break on Weagle 91.1 FM. Ryan, welcome back to the program. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Excited to talk sports with you guys.
All right, gentlemen, let's get right into it. Super Bowl 51 is now behind us. The New England Patriots defeated the Atlanta Falcons 34-28 in overtime. This was the first Super Bowl to go to overtime. The Falcons were winning 28-3 in the third quarter before Tom Brady and the Patriots made an incredible comeback. Guys, the question everyone's asking out there, did the Falcons lose the game or did the Patriots win it?
I'm going to have kind of the cop-out answer and say a little bit of both.
I'm pretty sure we all will.
I think that anytime you have that big of a comeback, it falls on both teams' shoulders. First off, everyone's talking about the play calling there at the end of the game when it was 28-20. Atlanta only runs the ball on first down. They drop back the pass and lose field goal range and then end up punting when a field goal could have made an 11-point game with under 4 minutes left. But also you got to recognize, Tom Brady and the offense did everything perfect the last 4 or 5 possessions of the game. The defense did force 3 punts. One was the one I just alluded to, and then they got a strip sack of Matt Ryan, which had happened, fumble earlier for the Patriots as well. So, the defense made plays to get them back in it, and obviously the offense converted every play they needed to, but at the same time the Falcons had that blatantly obvious chance to wrap up the game if they just make a field goal. Matt Bryant, one of the best kickers in the NFL that no one talks about, that could have made it 31-20, that would have been game, but unfortunately for them they had a couple missteps on that drive.
There was a classic case of the team that's been there before and the team that hasn't been there before, or at least in the past 30 years. And, the Patriots, they did everything, like you said, perfect down the stretch. They forced a turnover. They got the Falcons off the field. And, the Falcons' offense was just cutting through a great Patriots defense in the first half. Bill Belichick made the adjustments necessary. I think it's probably more of the Patriots came back and won this game. I just felt like after the Patriots scored their first touchdown, I know that was still really early, that there was nothing the Falcons could do. I think it really was, at that point, the beginning of a comeback, and I was like, oh goodness, the Patriots are going to win this. Right. And I saw it that early because I knew that Bill Belichick and his superior coaching, that he was going to be able to make the comeback.
I mean, they're the best of the best, and the Atlanta curse is staying strong. After that one, I think, like you said, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, Brady, it's an unbelievable performance by him, but anytime you're up by 25 points in the third quarter, you've got to be able to hold on to a lead. But, I mean, the fourth quarter, it was like you said, it was like Brady just flipped on a switch and it was the same with Tom Brady that we were expecting to see the whole game.
Atlanta's the new Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least Atlanta makes the playoffs. I mean, Cleveland's not been in a while. Also, the Buffalo Bills have not made the playoffs in a long time. So at least Atlanta's getting somewhere.
I'm talking about in terms of the city and the choking and the failures on the big stage. I think you can make the argument that Atlanta's the new Cleveland.
All right, well, gentlemen, we turn over to the winners of this game. And now with the win and taking home Super Bowl MVP honors, should Tom Brady, keep in mind he's 39 right now, he'll play at age 40 all of next season, should he retire or should he come back and try and win his 6th Super Bowl?
Why not come back? He's having a lot of fun. He's playing some good football. I mean, he's at the height of his game right now. It's hard to believe that someone's in their prime as they're reaching 40, and players tend to exponentially decay at this point in time in their career. Every year it gets worse and worse. But for Brady, he continues to get better and better. And why not come back and try and win 6? I mean, they're always going to be a contender. And I don't see why not try and really continue to just drive up the record.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, why not? He said he wants to play till he's 45 years old. And, I mean, he was taking shots a ton in that first half. And obviously, at age 39, was able to come back and lead one of the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. So it's not like his body's decaying, like you said, that much. I mean, yeah, I think why not either? You're playing great football, and if you want to win more, why not?
Yeah, sometimes players tend to play too long. They decline. You think of Kobe Bryant in the NBA, Paul Pierce playing a little bit too long. But in the NFL, there's not been as many examples. I mean, Peyton Manning right at the very end started to collapse, but hey, he won a Super Bowl his last year.
Brett Favre.
Yeah, Brett Favre. But, with Brady, he's playing so well, it's kind of hard not to want to keep playing and see how many rings you can get, because like you said, he wanted to play to 45, and at this rate, the way he's playing, it'd have to be a drastic drop-off for him not to be good enough to play at least 2 or 3 more years. And so I know they're on top, and people want to go out while they're on top, but with Tom Brady, he might have 2 to 4 more years of being able to be in the Super Bowl, being Super Bowl caliber, and so maybe he can go out on top in a couple years as opposed to this year.
And playing devil's advocate here, and I hate to do this, but like you look at Kobe before all the injuries came through, and Kobe's playing some really good basketball. It looks like he could possibly win some more. Tom Brady's kind of in a similar situation, so I kind of can see where people are making the argument, go ahead and get out now because you may not win another, and it might end bad. So I think he might be one injury away from things taking that direction. And I hate to say that, but that's the other side of this argument of whether or not he should just go ahead and get out now rather than roll the dice. But I think they'll be just as much in it next year as any year to try and win another Super Bowl, so why not?
They actually came out as the leading favorites yesterday to already win it for next year. So, just why not?
If you have Brady and Belichick, you're always going to be pretty favored.
All right, guys, now Falcons offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan is leaving Atlanta, is now going to become the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. How successful do you think Shanahan's going to be up in the Bay Area?
After the questionable play calling towards the end of that Super Bowl, the lack of running the ball, the Matt Ryan fumble, people are going to, I feel like it's going to skew the argument here. This is a team that was #1 scoring offense in the NFL this year and put up like 28 points, but 21 offensive points against the #1 scoring defense in the league this year. So I think they should expect good results. I mean, this was a team that was inconsistent last year and that just completely turned around this year. And, I mean, it's largely in part due to him, and I think they can expect good results out of it.
I don't know. I'm looking at the 49ers roster. It's a barren wasteland. And a coach is very valuable. A coach can make a team better, but also a coach is nothing without his players. He's got to have great talent, especially in the professional leagues. You see what happened with the Saints when Sean Payton got taken out of the picture for that 1 year for his suspension. They weren't as good. But also look at Sean Payton now. The Saints aren't very good. And so the Niners don't really have much on the roster. So I hate to say this for him, and I feel bad for him, but he's going to need a lot of luck to succeed in San Francisco. And they got to bring in a lot of players. Front office is in turnover right now in San Francisco. There's just a lot wrong right now for me to really think that anything's going right in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're going to have to build through the draft, and they're going to have to find a quarterback because Colin Kaepernick is just that era seems to be over in San Francisco. But the problem is there's really not a quarterback that's really worth using a top 5 pick on in this draft. Deshaun Watson was a great college quarterback, but some worry about his size in the NFL. And you got Mitch Trubisky, who has the size but only 1 year of experience at North Carolina. So there's not a sure answer at the quarterback position in this draft. So it'll be interesting to see with their new coach, who was an offensive coordinator, who has obviously done wonders with Matt Ryan, if they take a chance on one of those quarterbacks in the hopes that he can develop them, because they don't seem to have the ceiling that an Andrew Luck did a few years ago. And so it's hard to see it's hard to tell how long they're going to take in this, because if they don't take a quarterback in this draft, then it's going to be set back their rebuild at least a couple more years.
All right. Coming up next, guys, we're going to talk about a little Auburn basketball. That's next. It's AU Nation on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45. There goes Davis.
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Auburn beat Alabama 82-77 in Tuscaloosa over the weekend. This is the Tigers' first season sweep of the Tide since 2009. Gentlemen, what was your biggest takeaway from the Tigers' win at Coleman Coliseum?
Yeah, it's a big win for Auburn. They get up to 15-8 on the year. Obviously, you love the in-state bragging rights, but Auburn is a team that's not been in the postseason in a very long time. They're really just trying to make an NIT, and this win puts them kind of back on the NCAA tournament bubble. They're, depending on who you talk to, ESPN really doesn't have them on, but CBS does. And so, at least this puts them in good NIT contention. They've got some important games coming up. They have Mississippi State this week. That Florida game next week is going to be the opportunity to get a quality win to put on an NCAA tournament resume, but they got to take care of the games like Mississippi State. But regardless, this was a must-win in their maturation of becoming a tournament team.
I think my takeaway is that Auburn's learning how to play on the road. Now, you look at the last 3-4 minutes, you still kind of see the youth in the squad and how not composed they are in these situations when teams put the press on them and are trying to come back. I mean, you saw it in the TCU game, and now you've also seen it in the Alabama game. You've seen it time and time again this season. And I'm past the point now where you're past midseason. These guys are no longer freshmen. They're almost sophomores in my mind. And so I would like to see Auburn develop in terms of their composure and being able to close out games and really putting the nail in the coffin and shutting the door on teams. That we haven't seen yet. But Auburn has been able to win some really big games on the road that earlier on in the year they probably wouldn't have won, and also early on in the SEC schedule that they weren't winning. And now I think this team is in a much more comfortable position in this last stretch of the SEC schedule, and it's going to be necessary for them to be comfortable on the road because they've got a lot of tough road games.
I think some of the same issue. While it was a great win, this team went out rebounded 47-28. And that's going to be a huge issue down the stretch because you're not going to knock down 15 threes every game. Yeah. So I feel like right now we're kind of living and dying a little bit by that three ball. Like Wiley's had some good games in there, but Wiley had 2 points, and without the three ball, we get blown out this game. So, I mean, but like you said, also I think the youth need to get better about closing games, or Auburn needs to get better about closing games. And I think this is a team that is an NIT team, and I think as long as they can consistently play like that, this could be a very good team. But the inconsistency in the youth of this team is really hurting them right now.
Yeah, they really did not rebound the ball well, but some of that was because Austin Wiley got an immediate foul trouble. They also didn't have Horace Spencer, but I mean, you're right. They're not going to be able to shoot the three that well every game. Alabama's actually was 250th in the NCAA entering play in defensive three-point percentage. So they were not a good, despite being a good defense, they were not a good perimeter defensive team. And so Auburn's not going to be able to hit 15 threes, play that weak of a perimeter defense very often.
Meanwhile, guys, keeping it in the present, Auburn announced that free pizza will be provided for the student section prior to their game against Mississippi State. Head coach Bruce Pearl said in a tweet, quote, "I will see y'all out front. Be hungry and ready to rock. We need the jungle jumping as we somehow have managed to get back in the NCAA bubble," end quote. Do you guys think that Auburn has a legitimate chance to make its way into the NCAA tournament?
I certainly believe, yeah, they have a legitimate chance, but I think the door's closing quickly. They've got one last chance to put a huge stamp on the resume and have a quality win that can get you in. And that's Florida coming to Auburn Arena next week on Tuesday. They've got to win that game. They don't win that game, then Auburn's not going to get in. They've got some quality wins on the resume like TCU and Texas Tech, but there are a lot of teams on the bubble with wins like that. You've got to have the win that separates you, and a win against Florida, a team that is in the field right now, that's going to separate yourself. I think Auburn's got a chance, but they can't suffer bad losses. You've got to win 20-plus games. The opportunity is there, but you've got to win 6 out of your last eight games left if you're going to get in. You also got to do good in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I think consistency is a real thing that's holding back this team. I mean, the Tigers have a great win at Alabama last week, but for all that the fans know, they could come out and play. It's kind of been the trend of the season. You play one great game, 2 steps back.
Yeah, when Auburn's great, they're an NCAA tournament team, but when they're bad.
Right, exactly. When they're playing at their A game, they can be an NCAA tournament team. I truly believe that. Like you said, the TCU one was big. TCU's a good basketball team, and I was on the road there. And the Texas Tech one was a big one. But the I guess, ended up being a 10-point loss to UT, but it was a way worse game than that show scored. Games like that, you just got to be more consistent.
Yeah, they need to take care of the games they should, because they play Texas A&M at Texas A&M. They're playing better, but they're still one of the bottom feeders in the SEC. Then they play at LSU at the back couple games of the season. LSU is the second worst team in the SEC. And then Auburn also plays the worst team in the SEC, Missouri again. So those are 3 wins you got to have. That puts you at 18 wins. If you take care of your home game against an evenly matched Mississippi State team, that's 19. And you beat Florida and get that big resume win, that's 20. You win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament, then I think you're in. Yeah. But it's got to be like that. They can't lose any of those other games to like Ole Miss or Georgia by more than 6 or 8 points. They can't get blown out. So it's a very fine line they walk, but I do think they have a chance. They got to beat Florida, though. That's the biggest thing, because without that, they don't have a truly good win.
All right, guys, coming up after the break, we'll put your sports knowledge to the test in another edition of AU Nation Trivia. This is Eagle Eye TV.
Gosh, Darlene, it sure is amazing how much we have in common.
I know, Larry. We both love 3-car pileups. We both were built in Buffalo.
And we both know wearing safety belts helps save thousands of lives.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Don't mind Vince. He's getting over a bad breakup.
I know. Janet's picking up the pieces, too. They're in here.
I wish they understood it's all worth it to get people to buckle up.
Hey, lacerated lovebirds, I sense a major crush.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Talk about head over heels.
Welcome back to AU Nation. It's time to answer some trivia questions. Each panelist will get 4 questions worth 1 point each. If a panelist doesn't answer their question correctly, another panelist will have a chance to steal that point. The 5th question will be asked to all the panelists and is worth 5 points. In the end, I'm going to give away points whenever I feel like it. It's my show. I do what I want. Let's get started. People, let's buckle up. Keith, you are first up. Are you prepared?
Let's hope so we don't choke.
All right. First question. Let's talk NFL awards. Who won Offensive Rookie of the Year?
It was Ezekiel Elliott.
It was not Noah.
Dak Prescott.
It was Noah. First on the board. Ryan, the next question goes to you. Who won NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Joey Bosa.
Yes, he did. Keith, you will have a chance later, but Noah, it's time for your first question. Noah, who won NFL Head Coach of the Year?
Oh, gosh. I should know this. Jason Garrett.
He did. Noah, coming out of the first round strong with 2 points.
I remember everyone's angry tweets.
It's Noah 2, Ryan 1, Keith Zippo as we head into round 2. But Keith, you can get a point right here. It's a softball for you. Who was named regular season MVP in the NFL?
It was Matt Ryan.
You are on the board,
right.
Sir. Ryan, who was named Comeback Player of the Year in the NFL?
Oh. I remember it being announced, and I remember thinking about it, and I'm like, that's fair, but I don't remember exactly who it is. I think it was...
All right, Keith.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your turn.
I don't know either.
Noah.
I'm just going to take a guess. Eric Berry.
It was not. It was Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, I knew it was
no
right.
points. Noah. This Patriot set the Super Bowl record for most catches in the game with 14. What is his name?
I should know this, but I didn't pay attention to it. I'm just going to go with Julian Edelman.
Nope. Ryan.
Way off.
James White.
It is James White. As we head into round 3, Noah and Ryan knotted up at 2 apiece. Keith just behind with 1 point. And Keith, you can tie it up right here.
All right.
The Kansas Jayhawks have won 54 straight home games at Allen Fieldhouse. That streak ended last weekend when which Big 12 foe beat them?
Kansas State?
That is incorrect. Noah.
Iowa State.
That is correct.
Overtime.
Yep.
Ryan.
Okay.
Last week, we moved to the ice. Which NFL team fired their head coach?
Oh, this is just lovely. Trying to think of someone bad. Let's go with the Calgary Flames.
It was not. Keith.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Last week, which NFL team fired their head coach?
Oh, you said NFL.
NHL.
Okay, NHL. Okay.
I'm not sure either.
All right, Noah.
We'll go with the Florida Panthers.
It is none of the above. It is the St. Louis Blues. In my opinion, some of the best uniforms in the NHL. Noah, it's time for your question. Which MLB team had to forfeit 2 upcoming draft picks and was fined $2 million last week?
Those St. Louis Cardinals.
That is correct. Noah, as we head into the final round, it's Noah 4, Ryan 2, Keith 1. Let's see if Keith can try and make his way back into this one. Keith,
Good at this rate.
Sunday, we saw Paul Pierce play his final game in Boston. The longtime Celtic drained a 3-pointer in the final seconds. Who does Paul Pierce play for now?
The Los Angeles Clippers.
You are correct, sir.
Well, confidence booster.
There you go. And it's time for Ryan. Ryan, this is a tough one. Are you ready?
Oh, great.
Stanford women's basketball coach became only the 3rd coach to amass 1,000 career victories last week. What is her name?
No idea.
Keith, over to you.
Is it Coach Fox?
It is not. Noah, over to
It's
you.
on there.
I'm going to guess no idea.
That is incorrect. 0 for 3. It is Tara Vanderveer.
Whoa, I was way
Okay.
off.
And Noah,
that name.
it is time for your final question of this round. Which NBA Western Conference center will be suspended 1 game this week after receiving his 16th technical foul?
I'm going to go with DeMarcus Cousins.
That is a terrific guess.
Shoving coaches.
As we head into the final question worth 5 points, folks. The score is Noah 5, Ryan 2, Keith 2. Let's see how we do here. Gentlemen, last week the NBA announced the 8 players that will compete in the JBL 3-point contest on February 18th in New Orleans during All-Star Weekend. We will go down the line and attempt to name the 8 players in the contest. The guy who can name the most players takes the 5 points. Ryan, we will start with you and then work our way around.
Klay Thompson.
That is 1. Keith.
The one I knew.
I'm going to go with J.J. Redick.
Nope. Noah.
Steph Curry.
Nope. Ryan.
It's over, man.
I think.
Blew it.
Kemba Walker.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Keith.
I think Ryan's already got this one locked up. I'm going to go with Kyle Korver.
No. Noah.
That's what I was going to guess. Now I have to think. There's no way JR can. I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns.
No. Back to Ryan.
I think I'm out, but I'll guess Bradley Beal.
Nope. All right. We're giving up.
This is absurd.
We got 2 people off the board. Klay Thompson and Kemba Walker were Ryan's guesses. He wins 2-0. The other players that will be participating in the 3-point contest: Kyrie Irving, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Wesley Matthews, C.J. McCollum, and the swagster himself, Nick Young.
That's right.
So Ryan, 5 big points to you, puts you over the top. You have defeated Noah, our reigning champion. So Ryan, congratulations to you.
That had to be the worst trivia of all time, but yeah, I'm the winner of the worst.
I choked. This is a comeback. This is like the Super Bowl.
All right, well, gentlemen, all the attention last week was on the Super Bowl, but the 2017 NFL Hall of Fame class was also announced. We're going to talk about that in our burning question next on AU Nation Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
In with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to AU Nation. It's time for our burning question. Last week, the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced their 2017 Hall of Fame class. 7 men inducted are kicker Morton Anderson, Broncos running back Terrell Davis, Seahawks safety Kenny Easley, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, defensive end Jason Taylor, running back LaDainian Tomlinson, and quarterback Kurt Warner. Great class, guys, but one of the biggest surprises is that former wide receiver Terrell Owens did not make it in on his first ballot. Our burning question today, should T.O. be enshrined in Canton?
I think absolutely yes. I think this was a really poor mistake by the Hall of Fame. He's second all-time in receiving yards, 8th all-time in receptions. For a long time in the National Football League, it was Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. They were the 2 very best receivers in the league for a long time. I think this is purely because he celebrated a lot, because he had attitude issues, and so the Hall of Fame wanted to slap him on the wrist and make him wait another year. And I don't respect things like that, because he was one of the greatest receivers of all time, and one of the greatest receivers of all time should be in the Hall of Fame, plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, I've even seen some people say that he's second best, only behind Jerry Rice, and to put him in company with a guy like Jerry Rice, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer in my mind. T.O. should probably watch what he says on Twitter, because the Hall of Fame can further punish him even more. But I think that this is an absolute travesty. He should be in the Hall of Fame right now, and I just think that Hall of Fames in general, just period, need to, especially the NFL, needs to stop punishing players for what they were like in terms of their personality. That's not a criteria. It's their play. That's what made him a Hall of Famer, and Terrell Owens is just as good as they come.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you guys. I mean, in this generation of football players, he was one of the household names at receiver for years and years and years, and I believe he had 153 touchdowns and nearly 16,000 receiving yards. I mean, regardless of his personality, based on those stats alone, if you're just looking at stats, there's absolutely zero reason that he should not have made it this year.
And you see in Major League Baseball with Curt Schilling, he lost Hall of Fame votes. So this is something similar. He lost Hall of Fame votes after all those controversial remarks he posted on social media, and that caused the voters to stop voting for him in such a way. I think he dropped 10 or 15%. And I think that's the only fathomable reason why they did this to Terrell Owens, is because he is a controversial figure. He he celebrated a lot. The NFL maybe didn't love the way he represented the NFL, but at the same time, that's not what it should be about. If you're one of the greatest players of all time, or at least in his case, one of the greatest receivers of all time, you should be in the Hall of Fame, whether you celebrated after touchdowns or not. I mean, it's called the No Fun League for a reason.
Hey, those Miami University teams in the 1980s, they celebrated a lot. They're still remembered as some of the greatest college football teams ever to have played. So I think Terrell Owens is another example of somebody who has celebrated and has been a entertainer and a performer on the field that is just the NFL or another type of league just trying to stamp them out and make them look like a stain.
Yeah, can't agree more with y'all.
All right, guys, but first I'd like to send a shout out to my man Terrell Davis, San Diego native, Lincoln High graduate. So shout out to Terrell Davis, one of the best 6-year careers in NFL history. I mean, just absolutely dominated the league. So shout out to him for getting in, much deserved. But guys, it was a fun show today. Thanks so much for being here, and we look forward to having you back on the show soon.